Hey guys, and welcome back for another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this adorable diaper and wipes clutch. I made it with a cotton and added some cork for a fun little design element. You can use any other fabric if you want to achieve this look, but really you can just have it plain and all the same fabric in the end if you like. I'll show you how to do this fun little design element later. Now of course, with all my tutorials there will be a blog post in the description box below, as well as in the information icon, and there you'll find the measurements and any links to products and tools I use in all of my videos. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need is two outer pieces. I'm going to be using this fun little ice cream print with sparkles in it. How adorable is this? And then for the little slots, I'm going to be using a plain pink cotton. I have this cork fabric that I will be using for the detail as well as the little strap for the closure. I got that over at Cork Supply, so I'll have that link in the description box below if you want to check out them. They're awesome. So the first thing I'm going to do is work on the little slot pieces. So I did use medium weight interfacing on this, and that is just a fabric stabilizer that you iron onto the back just to make it a little bit more heavier, because cotton is light and I'm going to be using it as the pockets. I don't want to be too flimsy, so I did iron that on, and I'll have links to any stabilizers that I use over at the blog post. So I just folded those in half, and I'm going to do a top stitch along the folded edge. Now these pieces are going to measure 5 inches by 11 inches when folded. So because when they are a square, the measurements can be a little bit confusing, you know, where to fold it, but it should measure 11 inches in length. And I'm just going to do a 3 stitch length top stitch right about 1/8 of an inch away from that folded edge. So this is how it should look, and we'll just place those aside and we can work on the front of our little wallet and adding our little cork detail. So like I said, you can just use maybe a different color fabric. You don't even need to do this step if you don't want to. I just thought that it made it look a little bit cuter. I've seen wallets add a vinyl or cork detail like this, so I wanted to give it a try. So I'm going to just lay it on the one side of the outer fabric, mark it, and then I'm going to fold it so that the right sides are down, and then I just pushed it 1/4 of an inch past that little marking that I made, just so that when I go to do my stitching, which will be 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, when I go to fold it over, it should line up perfectly with that side. So like I said, this is totally optional, but it does add some more visual interest to the wallet, and it also, you know, kind of ups the value if you want to sell them. So I'm just doing that 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and then I'm going to take it and then I'm going to fold it over, and then I'll press it with my fingers. I even put some clips at the edge just so that it doesn't flip back over. Because it's cork, it's a little bit stiff, and that would be the same thing if you're using vinyl. If you are using a fabric to do this little design, then you can just press it with your iron. So as you can see, it actually lined up quite perfectly, so I was pretty impressed. So now I'm just going to do a top stitch right along the cork, and that's just going to help make it lay flat. Also adds a nice professional touch to it. So I'm going to again bump my stitch length up to a 3 stitch length. If you are working with a cork or vinyl, you might need to start using a stronger needle very soon. So for the strap, I actually changed my mind. At the beginning of the video you saw I had 2 pieces of cork, but that was just not going to work. So I'm going to use 1 piece of cork, and then the inner of the strap is going to be the cotton fabric. So the first thing I'm going to do is take about a 1-inch piece of hook tape, which is, you know, the rougher piece of the Velcro. And I'm going to place that about 3/4 of an inch away from the end of our strap. So this is how it should be looking. We're going to place those with the right sides together, and then we're going to sew down the 3 sides, down one long side, the short side, and then up the other long side, leaving one of the short sides open. And then we're going to sew this with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So you're going to go up the one side. When you get to the corner, you're going to leave your needle in the machine and then pivot your fabric to give yourself a nice sharp edge. And before we flip this right sides out, we're going to just snip off those corners. That's going to reduce the bulk so you can get a nice sharp corner, so it's nice and square. Now, of course, if you want to make this a rounded strap, you could do that. It's totally up to you. This is your wallet. You design it how you like it. I have the measurements of the length that you'll need, so you can run with that. So it does take a little bit of time when you're working with cork, and I did accidentally pierce right through it with my knitting needle, but next time I will be a little bit more gentler. So I just pressed it, and now I'm going to do a top stitch down the 3 sides. Again, I am using a heavier needle at this point just because it does get a little bit bulky, especially at the corners where there's lots of cork. So the last thing I'm going to do is install the last piece of Velcro, and then we're going to tack the strap into place so that we can make sure that everything is in the right place. And I'm just going to put some clips into the strap centered along the one edge, and I'm just going to give it a quick little test run. So I'm just going to pretend it's all finished. I'm closing it up and then bringing the strap over, and yes, it's perfect. That's exactly how I want it to go, because there's been times where you install the strap and then it ends up being the wrong way. So it's always good to do little test runs like that once in a while. And I'm going to take the loop portion of the Velcro. I'm going to use about a 2.5 inch piece. The longer piece you have, the more adjustability you will have. So if you really stuff this wallet with a lot of things, then you can adjust your strap. Or if it's not stuffed, then you can again adjust it to have it smaller. So giving yourself some more room with the loop tape. You do end up having a lot of hook tape left over because if you're not cutting the same piece every time, but I like to do with most of my projects, give yourself some more room on the loop tape. And I just tacked everything into place and sewed down that Velcro piece and put a line from corner to corner to make sure it's nice and secure. So now I'm going to assemble the whole entire thing. So I'm just going to take my inside lining piece, and I'm going to place those slip pockets on top on either side. I'm just going to pin those into place temporarily, and then I will take the outer panel and I will place that with the right sides down. So we're just going to make sure that all of our sides are lined up nicely, and then I'm going to remove those pins just to make sure that I don't forget them and then end up stabbing myself later on. We're going to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around, but we are going to be leaving a gap in between the slip pockets, and that's the best place to put it, just to help reduce the problems when we go to do the top stitch later on. So it's going to be a little bit small, but it's okay. It's totally doable. Even with the cork panel, I didn't have a problem. So I'm just going to go all the way around. Again, go to the corner, pivot your fabric with the needle in, and then just go all the way down, trying to make everything as square as possible. So I didn't mention earlier, but this is for diapers and wipes, but you could use this for a medium-sized tablet or books, or just pretty much anything you want to protect. My medium-sized Samsung tablet actually worked or fit in it perfectly, so I was all like, oh well, that's a happy accident. I don't have any babies in diapers anymore, but I can definitely use it for that. And then maybe have like a little notepad on the one side. So if you don't have anyone in your life, or if you're not in that stage of life, then you can definitely make this and put other things in it. So I'm just again going to clip those corners to reduce the bulk, and I'm going to flip the whole thing right sides out. Again, we're going to poke all those corners out. I like to use a knitting needle, but you can use a chopstick or whatever you have on hand. And then we're going to do a top stitch. So if you are using leather, that is when it's going to get really, really bulky. So I would definitely go up to a heavier needle size at that point. If you haven't already, I would definitely do that, because I was having a little bit of issues with my size 14 needle. As long as it's a sharp needle, you should be good also. That makes a difference also. But I couldn't find my leather needles. I think I need to go buy some more. So I'm just going to press it all nice and flat. And we're pressing that little hole that we left for turning. Because when we go to do our top stitch all the way around, we're going to go right over that hole and it's going to close it up and you'll never know that it was there. Now, as you can see, when I did close it, my strapping is a little bit big. I do anticipate this would be quite stuffed with, wipes and diapers and things, so that wouldn't be an issue once it's all filled. But of course, you can make your strap shorter if you like, if you are putting less things in there, such as a tablet or a book or something like that. So just keep that in mind, that you can adjust the size of your strapping. Just cut off however much you don't need before you install it. So now again, I'm going to bump my machine up to a 3 stitch length and just do that top stitch about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch away from the edge all the way around. When I get to like these corners, my cork corner, sometimes I like to just kind of cut the corner and not try to go to the corner because it is a little bit, it's really bulky there. But when you get down to the corner of your fabric, that should be fine to be able to just go straight to the corner there. So this is how it is looking. So I think it turned out super cute, and I hope that someone in my life has a little girl very soon so I can hand it off. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, of course, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell to be alerted of new and future tutorials, and smash the like button, as the kids like to say. And if you're not already, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. All those links will be in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye guys!